Wow, I didn't see this one coming. Royal Caribbean scrapping a popular venue on one of its newest cruise ships for the sake of smokers. Smokers. Also, big day for MSC Cruises yesterday, and we have a popular movie from the 80s being transformed into a brand new show on a cruise ship. What movie do you think that is? All that and more on today's episode. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I am your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising. And let's kick it off with Royal Caribbean taking away a popular venue for the sake of smokers. It is amazing to me that there's the correlation between smoking and casino profitability must be high, because we see the numbers of smokers every year in this country decrease. Less and less people are smoking year over year, but cruise company after cruise company continues to make smoking and casinos a big part of their offering. Now, I haven't seen the numbers on it, but I'm assuming that means if you look at the numbers that smokers spend money in casinos in a way that's much more profitable than just having non-smoking casinos. Now, we've seen it. The celebrities got non-smoking casinos, but the big brands like Carnival, Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, the attempts in the past to go completely non-smoking in the casino have either been reversed or changed. And that's what we see right now with Royal Caribbean. Word has come out, this was reported first by Matt over at Royal Caribbean blog, that on Utopia of the Seas, they are repurposing the comedy club called The Attic. They're repurposing that into another non-smoking casino. Now, they've done it on other Oasis class cruise ships with the Jazz Club. There used to be a cool jazz club on these other cruise ships, and they've decided that jazz is not as important as a non-smoking casino. Now, look, they've got these huge casinos on these cruise ships, but they're smoking casinos. So instead of saying these are going to be non-smoking casinos and cutting off that revenue stream of smoking gamblers, they're taking away other venues for non-smoking casinos. So the Attic will now be repurposed into another non-smoking casino on Utopia of the Seas. They already have one, but now this is going to be allocated to more slot space. And, you know, there's other venues on board, certainly, to have stand-up comedy. I do like the idea of having a comedy club, a dedicated comedy club that feels like a comedy club. Think about it. Is anybody spending extra money to be on a cruise ship so that they can go to a, nice vibey comedy club? Is that a purchasing decision? I would say no, but maybe a purchasing decision is whether or not you can gamble smoke free. And so, I think it's all about the money. I think it's all about the money. And striking the balance between gamblers who smoke, who have money, and gamblers who do not want to be subjected to smoke that have money. And so you see them striking this balance, trying to have equal spaces. Look, I get it. I was just on the Carnival Paradise, and it was hard to be in that casino because it was very smoky. They had some non-smoking sections, but the rest of it was so smoky that even in the non-smoking section, you could taste the smoke. You ever been somewhere so smoky that it sat on your palate? Like, So are you a gambler? Do you like the idea of a non-smoking casino? Do you think that, gambling and smoking will go together till the end of time? Any comedy nerds out there? What do you think about Royal getting rid of the Attic as a comedy space? All right, let's move from Royal Caribbean over to MSC Cruises. They had a huge day yesterday as the MSC World America, now in Miami, their newest cruise ship. It is full of people making content about MSC World America. The Today Show did a whole hour of their show on the MSC World America yesterday, their hour 3. And then last night they had the big naming ceremony where the lovely Drew Barrymore christened the MSC World America. This MSC World America is a big deal. This is definitely a play by MSC to compete directly with the mega ships of Royal. I've said it for a while, be on the lookout for MSC because they continue to make strategic decision after strategic decision to take away market share from the big three. And, I think before long, it's going to be a big four if it's not already a big four. Are you going to be cruising on the MSC World America anytime soon? Leave a comment below. Now, fascinating thing to me about the cruise industry and really about, attention marketing, if we want to call it that, is there's a lot of stuff that's happening all at once. So of course, MSC having the biggest day ever yesterday with the kickoff of MSC World America. But earlier in the week, we saw this big announcement from Carnival Cruise Line talking about everything that they have going on. And so on the big MSC day, Carnival also had a big day yesterday. First, they give us the name of the next XL class cruise ship, the Carnival Festival. And, so how do you follow that up to continue to compete with MSC? Well, you cut the steel for that ship on the same day that the MSC World America is launched. It happened in Papenburg, Germany yesterday. They did the steel cutting, which is how you kick off the building of a ship. They did the steel cutting for the Carnival Festival yesterday. So this is the next ship in the Carnival XL class of cruise ships. We have the Mardi Gras, the Celebration, the Jubilee, and now the Festival will be XL class number 4, 180,000 gross tons, services 6,800 passengers. Excitingly, they've got all kinds of new features coming to this cruise ship. They're removing Bolt, the roller coaster, to put a new splash water park, mega water park area on the top of that cruise ship. I'm really excited about Festival. Like the stuff I heard earlier in the week from Carnival got me really excited about the Festival. The battle of the marketing continues. You got to think that Carnival does see MSC as a big competitor. Carnival's always been one to capture business based on price. A lot of times Carnival is the least expensive per cabin cruise ship. The funny thing is total cost of cruising, when you put all the add-ons and stuff like that, a lot of the cruise lines kind of balance out and it's all a similar cost. But when it comes to that, hey, let me get you in the door thought process, Carnival does come in at a low price point. And I think MSC also tries to compete at that low price point. So it's really interesting to see as MSC does stuff, Carnival does stuff. And it may not be as premeditated as I'm making it sound. It could just be coincidence or serendipity. Companies are doing new things at the same time. MSC World America on the scene yesterday, and then pretty soon it'll be spring of 2027. And we'll have the Carnival Festival. How about that? Now, the MSC World America debuting in Miami is not the only big cruise Miami thing going on this week. There's also the Sea Trade Conference, which is an industry conference. And this is where the leadership of a lot of cruise companies get together and talk about the future of cruising. And one of the more interesting conversations that I found coming out of Sea Trade was the conversation about LNG versus some other alternate form of clean burning fuel. We've heard over the last few years that LNG is the future of cruising. Many of the new cruise ships coming out over the next few years are LNG fueled, but not everybody's a big fan of LNG. During the Sea Trade, the CEO of Viking, Torsten Hagen, was asked about LNG and Viking ships going forward. And he said, no, I'm not into it. I like hydrogen fuel better. And he dropped some pretty interesting quotes in his dissension about LNG. This is what he said. He said, I was formerly a scientist, and we like to approach things by what is right scientifically and not what is politically correct. We certainly know that LNG is not the solution for the future, so we can cut that out. But if you're heading towards zero emissions, LNG is not the way. I don't want to offend anybody in the industry, but that's what we have learned. So the Viking CEO is saying everybody that's leaning toward LNG is wrong, and we're right because we're on the hydrogen train. Thinking about green initiatives in regards to cruising, this is the way I feel about green initiatives. In a free market system, the market's going to determine what businesses do. Businesses are driven by profit. And so you can raise profit a couple ways. You can increase your price or you can decrease your cost. And so optimizing cost is one way to make more money. And a lot of times optimizing cost does not equal green friendly, right? In simplest terms, the cheapest fuel might be the most pollutive fuel. But because there are these green initiatives and there's a whole bunch of eyeballs on the cruise industry to be more environmentally friendly, it's an interesting question. Are companies environmentally friendly because they want to be benevolent to the environment, because they think that's the right thing to do? Or are the optics of environmentalism the thing that motivates them to be environmental friendly? Like, if you're not environmentally friendly, you're going to catch a lot of crap, right? And so again, it's finding the balance of what costs less, but is what's the best environmental profile. And so it's interesting to me, the suggestion, and this is just me speculating as to what the CEO meant there. It's like, it's almost like he's saying a lot of people went with LNG because the optics look good, but is it really the most environmentally friendly? I don't know. So to me, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Viking, they're not going LNG. They don't think that's the way. An interesting conversation. Now, probably one of the most exciting stories for me today is this story about a brand new show that is going to make an appearance on an MSC cruise ship very soon. And it's going to be based off of a movie from 1987. Call a few out and you tell me which one would make a good cruise ship show. Full Metal Jacket. Could you see Full Metal Jacket in the main theater on a cruise ship? That's a pretty intense movie for a cruise. How about Wall Street? Greed is good. Maybe you can see Wall Street in a cruise theater. The Lost Boys. Was there ever a better vampire movie than The Lost Boys? You had the Coreys, Kiefer Sutherland. How about Good Morning Vietnam? What about La Bamba? Man, that was a great movie and a great soundtrack that would probably make a great show. La Bamba se necesita una poca de gracia. That one, they had the slow song on there. You're mine and we belong together. Also, I Was Framed. You remember that song? I was framed. I never do nothing wrong, but I always get blamed. Framed. Yeah, La Bamba, a great show. Dirty Dancing. Could they put Baby in a Corner on a cruise ship? The Madonna movie came out, Who's That Girl, in 1987. This next one I think would be perfect on a cruise ship. Predator, right? Because then you could have an actor going, get to the chopper. But then at the same time, if there was a medical emergency on the ship, you could hear the captain say, get to the chopper. The answer is going to seem obvious after I say it, but debuting on the MSC Virtuosa in July, Dirty Dancing the Concert. It's a 90-minute show that's been developed for the stage that will have singers and dancers and all of the music that we love from Dirty Dancing. I don't know if they're going to do the lift. Oh, I had the time of my... What song did they play when he lifted her up? I haven't seen Dirty Dancing in forever. It was great. It was a great movie. But yeah, I had the time of my life. And let's try something different today. Let's do it Mike Myers Sprocket style. Let's end the show with a dance. Now is the time that we dance. See you on the Lido. Bye.